welcome to Silverstone, historically one of the most famous tracks of all time in great British motorsport history. Well, we're here for the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy, and this time round we've got two very familiar drivers, but in two unfamiliar cars to them. Let's go and find out what it's all about. Tom, you've actually made the move into the Elises now.
Yeah, that's right. We've left the VXs behind and moved up to the, moved across to the Elises S1.
And how are you finding it?
We find it, as a novice driver, we find it a lot easier to drive. It's not such an experienced ride, so we're obviously slowly picking our way up the order. So we're finding it a lot better, yes. We was out in this one at Brands. I must say we must thank Steve Williams. The car I'm riding was a race car was a road car on Sunday, and by Thursday night he had it prepped for a race car, which is absolutely amazing. So big thanks to Steve from Tony and I for prepping both our cars and getting them ready.
For a novice driver like myself, it's an easier package. No disrespect to the VXs, but they were a little bit heavier, less powerful, and I'm just finding it more competitive to be in the Lotus. Having said that, it's my first time with it, so you know, time will tell.
For the first time then, the Lotus on Track Elise Trophy heads to Silverstone. The cars making their way up to the grid, with Chris Randall, the man to beat in the series this year, on pole position. Andrew Walsh, a race winner, with him at the front, and Simon Scuffham yet to win, starting third ahead of Nick Kay and Andrew Kell. Russ Treasure lining up sixth, and further down the order, Chris Pearson and Malcolm Sanders, always drivers to watch. Doug Setter's getting quicker all the time. He will start 14th. Gavin Kirby, who's been the man to beat in Class A this year, further down in midfield, he's going to be worth watching as well. And Tom Chataway and Tony Verrier, now they've switched from Vauxhall to Lotus, qualified 28th and 29th in a field that boasts 36 cars in the qualifying session, with a couple of newcomers, Ian Smith at the very back and Jamie Allison qualifying 18th, about to have their first races within the series. So up to the grid then they come. For many of them, the first time they will have raced here at Silverstone. It's the national circuit in use, one or two getting themselves in place there. The green flag shown at the back, and now the drivers look towards the lighting gantry. Race underway, good start here by David Harvey. Tries to outdrag Gavin Kirby on the run down towards Copse Corner, but look at the Dayglow car of Russ Treasure, a demon start then. Russ Treasure leads, and there's a bit of contact as he leans on Andrew Walsh going into Copse Corner. Russ Treasure, though, from 6th on the grid, leads down towards Copse Corner. You're on board now with Neil McKean turning his way through the right-hander and now accelerating up towards Beckett's for the first time. A very full field indeed around Silverstone. Treasure leading, Randall is second, in third is Andrew Walsh, and fourth Simon Scuffham. One or two lock up then as they pour their way out of Maggots up towards Beckett's for the first time on the national circuit. Beckett's effectively is a hairpin, it's a long right-hander, and then here down the national straight for the first time. Treasure losing out though now. Randall nosing ahead of him, past him as well as gone Andrew Walsh, and Walsh has the quicker car in a straight line. Down towards Brooklands for the first time. Walsh leading, Randall right there behind him. And just look at this huge field of cars still pouring its way out of Beckett's down towards Brooklands. The man that won the very first race of the series at Brands Hatch, Andrew Walsh, leads here. On board now with Tony Doe, Andrew Kell ahead of him. Tony Doe accelerating his way now through Luffield up towards the end of lap one. So it is Walsh at the moment trying to make good his escape. Randall and Treasure behind him, past the pits and down towards Copse Corner they go for the second time. Treasure right on the back of Randall there, trying to fight back as they head down towards Copse. But Andrew Walsh here trying to pull out something of an advantage. He can't really do it. Randall is going with him, and Russ Treasure is still in touch in third place. On board now with Neil McKean, bit of a slide through Copse, and that's Chris Pearson right up ahead of him. Grabs a gear, he's in the wheel tracks, he might be able to make a move coming up towards the hairpin at Beckett's as Randall tries to put a move on Walsh, and there's contact, and Andrew Walsh gets chucked off to the left-hand side of the road there. There was a bit of a nudge from the back, Chris Randall lent on him slightly, that unsettles Andrew Walsh's car. He gets it back on, rejoins the race, but that's cost him the lead. It's also cost him a few more places, so now Randall leads from Scuffham. Russ Treasure third, goes off, does he? Yes, he's into the gravel. Russ Treasure has chucked it away. Is he going to be able to keep the car going? He's got a long way off. And that, I'm afraid, is buried treasure. There's no way he's going to get out of there. Russ Treasure's race is at an end. Just about everybody in this race has found someone to battle against, which is one of the hallmarks of this series. It's first year, full grid, support races to DTM. It really has been a great success story. And now, look, David Harvey trying to come through as well. closed on him though there by Chris Pearson. Across the start and finish line they come. Meantime, Gavin Kirby here looking for yet another win in Class A. The opposition coming from Paul Harding and James Knight within the class, but Gavin Kirby then just being able to fend them off as he comes across the line. Now the race leaders are going to be in and amongst the back markers before much longer. It is still Chris Randall holding sway up front. The rest of the field here making its way up through Luffield, including number 2 there, Paul Golding, the man whose brainchild this series was. He worked so hard to make it a success. Out of Beckett, down towards Brooklands goes that leading quintet of cars. Christian Watkins there running wide, leaving the door open for Steve Williams to nip up the inside of him. Christian Watkins, remember, won the handicap race at Brands Hatch in March, but he's losing places there by running wide, coming out of Beckett's. Neil McKean coming down towards him, still being chased by Chris Pearson. And have a look further back in that gaggle of cars, the traditional green and yellow livery on the car of David Skeggs, number 82. That car rebuilt after its big accident at Brands Hatch just a week ago. David Skeggs there, turning his way through, chasing after David Harvey in the open top 340R. Battles rage on right the way down through the field here at Silverstone as Chris Randall is set for yet another win. Looking back though from BJ Chong's car, diving now down towards Brooklands. Simon Scuffham in second has got Andrew Walsh right up behind him. These two now fighting absolutely hammer and tongs as they go up towards Magnus. They've got traffic in the way. Simon Scuffham goes one side, Andrew Walsh goes the other. Tess Howell being lapped. There's that one slower car between the two of them. Scuffham is still there in second place. In third is Walsh. Chris Randall leading and building up the gap all the time. And that is Andrew Kell in trouble at Beckett's. Look at the left rear corner of the car. The suspension is broken by the look of it. How, we know not, but the car's stranded in the middle of the road, and that brings out the safety car. Green flag flies, we're racing again at Silverstone. Chris Randall continues to lead. Simon Scuffham is second, Andrew Walsh third as they turn their way towards Copson. A big spin. Hans Baumhart goes off, and he's got broken suspension as well. Look, it's the same left rear corner. That car in a dangerous place, and it brings out the red flag. A race stoppage. Chris Randall the winner from Simon Scuffham and Andrew Walsh. Nick Kay fourth ahead of Neil McKean and Steve Williams sixth, with Chris Pearson, David Harvey, David Skeggs and Malcolm Sanders rounding out the top 10 in the classes. Gavin Kirby wins Class A. Not exactly news, he's done it so often, ahead of Paul Harding and James Knight. Class B goes the way of Neil McKean ahead of Steve Williams and David Skeggs. Newcomer Jamie Allison finishing fifth in class, while Randall, Scuffham and Walsh the top 3 in Class C ahead of Nick Kay and then Chris Pearson. So the Class A drivers to the podium. James Knight finishing third in his class. Paul Harding steps forward for second. Brian Coulter, the clerk of the course for the series, hands over the trophies. And yet again, the trophy for the class win goes the way of Gavin Kirby. David Skeggs' rebuilt car finishes third in Class B. Steve Williams, who was also involved in the fun and games at Brands Hatch a week ago, finishes second. But after a very busy drive, Neil McKean takes a class win and once again displays his rather bizarre headgear. But in Class C, and indeed the top 3 overall, a rather rueful Andrew Walsh for third, Simon Scuffham second. He's on the podium again, but he's still not had that first win. But a very happy Chris Randall comes home for yet another victory. He's on the top step of the podium at the end of the first of 2 races here at Silverstone for the Lotus on-track Elise Trophy. Let's hear from the drivers, though. They're with Gemma.
So, talk me through your race.
Got out in front, had one of the Class B cars, Jamie, behind me, come through and pushed Paul Harding back a bit, and I thought there was a great bit of gap. After last week's Brands Hatch, it's back on top. Nice.
Well, that's what we like to hear. What, looking forward to the handicap race?
Yes, of course, yeah, always. Racing's racing, isn't it? Always good fun.
So Neil, congratulations on your win. How was your race?
It was fantastic, really good fun. Had a good battle with Steve. Managed to let him pass just before the red flag, but they counted it back, so I won by default, but it's still a win. Thanks, Steve.
Well, that's what you say, a win is a win, eh?
It is, and yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. We had a good battle.
So, Chris, another win for you. Well done. Interesting race, though, right?
Yeah, interesting race. Every time I seem to have to work a bit harder. I think the gap's closing. I didn't get a very good start, and Walshy got past me, and so did some orange thing that sort of disappeared like a missile up past me and then into the gravel. But yeah, it was a close fight between Walshy. Managed to get past him into the second corner, and then I was fairly clear. But yeah, I don't think there's much between us.
So an interesting first race here at Silverstone, and clearly a lot of work to be done to a few of these cars. Let's hope they can get themselves back up and running for the handicap race, which is coming up right after this break.